so for people who are uninformed and they just don't know, the people don't know what they don't know sometimes. What can we tell people to factor in about body type?
Worry less about training for your body type, more in the sense of, again, I think there's going to be a lot of gimmicks around that, but I do think you have to be realistic with what your body type is, so you have a better expectation of what's going to happen. So take me, I'm a 6'1", skinny, lanky, Northern European descent guy. Like, I'm not going to get huge, right? I naturally am lean. So muscle mass is going to come on slow. Well, I have that knowledge and I have that expectation and I'm okay with that. Versus if my goal in my head that I'm thinking I want to look like The Rock, realistically from a genetic and time frame, like if there's a lot more volume that would have to take place in that training regimen to get there, and it truthfully would never genetically happen. So I do think setting some expectations on, what is your, I think there's a genetic component, but you can look at your frame, right? Like, man, I feel bad for the kid who's 5'5" and his dream is to be a center in the NBA. Like, it's not happening, bro. So I wouldn't worry so much about training differences, but I would have maybe some expectations. If you're naturally a bigger person, like, yeah, weight loss is maybe going to be, you getting super lean. If you're naturally a heavier person, it may take so much diligence in your diet, so much training volume that you maybe don't get down to 7% body fat, but maybe you can get down to 10% body fat where you feel and function really well. Then there's going to be the other guy like me who I can get down to 7, even 6.5% body fat and maintain it within, my lifestyle that I still enjoy, but I'm never probably going to be a 240-pound muscular guy, right? So it's more just understanding where you're at and then having, I think, the right expectation.
That makes total sense.
I wouldn't limit like your work ethic based on that, but, having a little bit of a reasonable idea of where you're going to end up.
You have the perfect analogy for somebody with a smaller, leaner frame trying to get the width of The Rock. And I feel like I'm Bill Burr with my rant and yelling. I never do this, dude, but it's like really interesting to me. But like with a person, I'm not gonna put a gender to it, but a person who is naturally very wide, like, I forget, is that the ectomorph?
Yes. You're with me. I'm like ecto or endo? Ecto.
And so if you're naturally a wider frame person and you're trying to get the narrow dimensions of a very slender person, it's like, well, there's this thing called your skeleton that's going to be a big factor in defining that. It's like, why try to do that versus what you're advocating is being lean and as muscular as possible.
I would even say flip it in your head of forget the result for a minute and instead get committed to the action and see what the result is. Maybe it's beyond what you even think it could be, and it very well could be. Again, I don't want anybody to short sell themselves. You could probably get way beyond what you think, but if you get committed to where like, hey, the goal right now is just to get those workouts in, get the nutrition in, and let's see what the result is. Because, man, again, take somebody who's naturally a little bit like beefier that could get muscular really easy. So, growing up, I had two other friends. My one buddy, he's the ecto or the endo. He's the big guy. He was the sack leader and, at school, and he set the records for the state. And then there's the other guy that was the meso. He didn't have to do much and he'd get jacked, but he could still be ripped. I was the beanpole. I'm like, well, I got abs, but that's not impressing anybody because I'm a twig. And for the guy on the big guy, for him to get down and get super lean, like he can do it, but can he maintain it? So instead, focus on what can you maintain from a lifestyle strategy standpoint, right? What are the exercises that you can commit to, those minimum guaranteed standards that you're going to do? What's the diet that you actually enjoy and can maintain? And let's see what that result is, because maybe it's something that you really like. And if not, when you get to that point where you've made those actions, then you can start diving into like the top of the pyramid stuff where you're really going to like go at it. But don't get focused so much that like, oh shit, I can't get down to 6% body fat because I'm naturally a big dude that I'm not even going to get started.
Like for, I guess, you and I, guys who played sports in the past, it's not that, it's probably easier to maintain fitness or just reimmerse yourself in the fitness because you've probably done so much in your lifetime. For the person who is looking to make long-term sustainable lifestyle changes that factors in fitness, diet, and rest, like what is your general equation without like kind of oversharing with your services are to your client? What's a good starting point for those
No,
kind of people?
I'm happy to overshare, man. If I can get
Oh,
somebody,
okay.
yeah, I mean, if I can get somebody to do it without me, that's brilliant. I would love that.
Okay.
And it's kind of what I said earlier, as far as that framework of, 3 workouts a week. They can be full body, but ultimately, like, start where you're at. And what is the minimum standard? So this is my coaching protocol when I do work with people. We're going to set the guaranteed minimum standards, like guaranteed no bullshit standard that you're going to hit. So like, what's going on in your world? We have 2 friends right now that are coming home, and they're going to have their brand new baby with them today or tomorrow. His life and his bandwidth is going to change drastically, right? So to think that guy who's now father to a 1-day-old is going to have the same workout routine as 22-year-old, which is going to be the same as the CEO or the entrepreneurs that I work with, it's not realistic. So what's the minimum guaranteed standard? And the reason we want to have this guaranteed standard is we're trying to build congruency with ourselves. So while I say, let's try to get 3 to 4 workouts in a week, if that's not realistic, let's get 2 and start slow and get some momentum, because once you get it, and as a guy who works out, you understand this, there's a reason people do all this. And it's because they feel fucking awesome, right? They like that they look good. The looks get them in it. It's how they feel that keeps them pushing through, right? So you have this tremendous reward once you step into this. So it will become self-fulfilling. You'll start to carve out new time and find a way to get an additional workout in, because again, you get such a tremendous return on that investment. You will be more productive. So you actually bought time back. You're maybe more clear energy if you're a business person. So again, you're buying time back. So it really is the minimum standard wherever you're at right now. But I would suggest start slow. The person who right now it's January and you're like, I'm going to go crush it and do 30 days in a row, I'll probably be talking to you again next January. That's just what I've seen. I would say, again, let's get you down to like 3 times a week, twice a week, if that's what it takes. So that's again, going back to that framework that I shared earlier, but like, that's really where we're trying to get people. It's just, how do we get people there becomes very individualized.